Welcome back to Franic's Garage. Today we have a 1988 Chevy K5. Today we'll be looking at specifically emissions equipment. Fun stuff, that. First off, we're going to take a look at the air pump, or smog pump as it's better known. See, we got one of those that's invisible, which indicates that it's not there. See, I can put my hand in there, it ain't there. So the air pump isn't here. Now, if the air pump were in fact here, it would be providing pressure, vacuum, and other magical sources of dust and breakage to make this thing supposedly run a little bit cleaner. Now, in actuality, did it do anything? Well, I don't know. I didn't look it up on the Google. So all we know is it ain't there. Next up on the list, we could look and see that there would be an air injection controller valve. Well, let's just pull the air cleaner off and have a look and see. By the way, putting your air cleaner upside down doesn't do anything at all other than look. There's dyno results proving that it doesn't do anything. So here we have, you'll notice, really early fuel injection. That would be sort of our valvature. Doesn't really do anything right now. You can see the what they call it, the EGR valve, little silver flying saucer pancake thing in the back there. It isn't doing a whole lot of nothing right now, so it just exists. There you got the coil pack distributor. You got your intake, all of that fun stuff, but we're not here to look at that. Next up, we'd take air provided by the air pump and look up here around all of this. We've already checked for the EGR solenoid and valve. We'd look for the map sensor coming off the back. Now, there is the hose. This one right here going right here, so it's right there. It's not doing anything right now, in case you're wondering. So then we look at the purge hose to the fuel tank hose and the vent. This is part of your evaporation system, trying to keep fuel vapors under control. This particular tank, at this particular moment, doesn't do anything. It just exists and looks, which is about all it did to begin with, but we're not going down that rabbit trail. Instead, we're going to answer what happens if you were to disconnect and remove this thing, or this thing, or just in general any of that junk, including the stupid little thing that went down there. Horsepower robbing's really all it did. So, what would that do? In the case of this engine, not much. It makes a car that's slow get slow a little faster, I suppose. It's still slow at the end of the day, so I don't suppose it matters. It makes it a whole lot more reliable, though, and that's about the only good reason to remove any of that. It's sort of expensive to maintain, eats up on the belts, and makes it run rough if it fails. However, if you remove it, it'll run a little bit better. Now, if you're worried about any black gunk coming out of the exhaust after all of that, sort of like you see on the pavement there, if it's blue, leaves a black ring, and smells really bad and like burning oil, then it's probably oil. But in the case of this truck, which we'll just start it up, see what happens. Hey, start it up. You'll see it starts coughing this black smoke. This is just excessive fuel burn. It stinks and smells like gasoline and leaves a black ring. I guess that's because it's sort of an oil in and of itself. We can see a mess of oil over here too. Don't mind the tires. Not one of which is good, by the way. Don't know why we got them. Oh, just this. There we go. Make it a little quieter anyway. So that's just excess fuel. Ways to fix it. Why do we have so much excess fuel? Well, it can be a number of reasons. Number one, it could be that your O2 sensor's going bad. probably part of the problem here. Number two, it could be that your catalytic converters are bad. Well, we can see catalytic converters are there. Whether they're doing anything, well, that's just debatable. Three, could be that, well, there's these injector pods are clogged up and nasty, which is probably the case with this one as well. I've had them off before, and if you pull this ring up, and, well, we're not going to mess with that, but if we could get the ring off and start it up, you would see that it would start spraying fuel out in something that would be reminiscent of punching a hole in the top of a water bottle and trying to squirt fuel out of it. Doesn't really atomize really well. Does, quite honestly, worse than a carburetor. So you could rebuild that. You could clean up the catalytic converter, and you could clean up the O2 sensor. But as for this stuff causing oil to go slinging everywhere, that's highly doubtful.